Please welcome to the stage, Kathy Wade.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the continent of Africa. Long ago, the Africans were sold into slavery, and they were made to get into the very bottoms of the slave ships, known as the bows of the slave ship.
Please welcome to the stage, Kathy Wade.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Oh my goodness, that is so cool. Are you ready to take an adventure with me? Well, now in order to take that adventure, you got to talk to me. Are you ready to take an adventure with me? Yeah. All righty, now we're going to go to another place, another time, a different land. I want you to listen very closely because everything that I'm going to tell you is a true story. It is history. And the only way that we can keep history alive is that we must listen, we must learn, and then we must repeat it over and over again to anyone who comes after us, because that's the story of what happened so that we know what to do in the future. Now, our story is going to take us, as I said, to a different time, a different place, a different continent. Turn on your ears, take a deep breath, blow it out, sit up straight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the continent of Africa. Long ago, the Africans were sold into slavery, and they were made to get into the very bottoms of the slave ships, known as the bows of the slave ships. Now, these ships were not very large, nothing like what you see today. No, these ships were relatively small. So if you were to put 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 Africans crammed into the bottoms of these very small ships, they were packed so tightly that they couldn't get up, they couldn't walk, they couldn't run, they couldn't twist, they couldn't turn. Their first problem was not enough space. Their second and probably most important problem was communications. You see, each African tribe has its own dialect. Dialects are languages, and each tribe has its own language. If you were to go to Africa at this very moment, you would still find that each tribe speaks its own language, has its own dialect. So the Africans who were crammed into the bottoms of these ships had to figure out, how are we going to talk to one another for this extraordinarily long journey from their homeland in the continent of Africa to an unknown, unseen, unheard of continent called America. They decided to do it through music. Now you're probably wondering, well, if you don't speak the same language, how on earth can you sing together? I'll tell you what they did. They taught each other the rhythms in their music, kind of like the rhythms you're hearing a little bit right now, and the rhythms that you like to listen to on the music of your favorite artist. Well, those Africans taught each other their rhythms in their music. You know, those fast rhythms usually make us feel like we're happy, and then slow rhythms may remind us of something that is sad or melancholy. Well, they taught each other those rhythms, and those rhythms were called tribal songs. Now, always keep in mind that thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Africans died on this journey. But as they died, they were picked up from the bottoms of the ships, tossed into the ocean, and left for food for the sharks who would follow the ships from the coastal waters of Africa to the coastal waters of the United States. But for those Africans that were strong enough to survive this journey, they brought their rhythms here to this country. And as they were sold into slavery and the songs would begin to be translated into English, the rhythms started to change. And those tribal songs became known as field songs, songs that the slaves sang on the plantations as they worked and toiled night and day. Then the slaves had to figure out, how are we going to talk to one another from plantation to plantation. There were no cell phones, no telephones, no computers. How were they going to talk to one another? They decided to do that through music. They changed the rhythms of the field songs, and they became known as spirituals. Now, when you hear a spiritual, you should listen very, very closely. Because if you listen very closely, not only will you hear beautiful music, but if you listen very closely, you will hear in the words a secret message, a hidden message, a message that says, I want to be free, I need to be free, it is my right to be free. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows all the trouble I've seen. Finally, slavery was abolished, and the black man and the black woman, they were set free. And as they began to venture around the country, they took the spiritual into the church, changed the rhythm just a little bit more, and it became known as gospel music. Today, this is what we hear. Then, as the black man and the black woman began to migrate to the north, the south, the eastern, the western portions of this country, they took the music from the church out to the streets, changed the rhythm just a little bit more, and it became known as the blues. Can you find the rhythm? That we like to listen to. You see, it doesn't matter what your favorite artist might be or what kind of music you may like. Whether you like hard rock, heavy metal, rock and roll, rhythm or blues, or rap. Always remember that the music that you like to listen to comes